Fortunately, the milk by Neil Gaiman. So, sit comfy, and I will remind you that last time our hero was standing on the edge of a plank, being forced to the edge by some angry pirates, including the Pirate Queen. And "You're right," said my father. "The piranhas were later." Right, so I was out at the end of the plank, facing certain death, when a rope ladder hit my shoulder, and a deep, booming voice shouted, "Quickly, climb up the rope ladder." I needed no more encouragement than this, and I grabbed the rope ladder with both hands. Fortunately, the milk was pushed deep into the pocket of my coat. The pirates hurled insults at me, and even discharged their pistols. But neither insult nor pistol shot found their target, and I soon made it to the top of the rope ladder. I'd never been in the basket of a hot air balloon before. It was very peaceful up here. The person in the balloon basket said, "I hope you don't mind me helping, but it looked like you were having problems down there." I said, "You're a stegosaurus." "I'm an inventor," he said. "I have invented the thing that we are travelling in, which I call Professor Steg's floaty ball person carrier." "Well, I call it a balloon." There's them in their balloon, or Professor Steg's floaty people carrier. "Professor Steg's floaty ball person carrier is the original name," he said, "and right now we are 150 million years in the future." "Actually," I said, "we are about 300 years in the past." "Do you like hard, hairy, wet, white crunches?" he asked. I thought for a minute. "Coconuts," I guessed. "I named them first," said Professor Steg. He picked up a coconut from his basket and ate it, shell and all, just as you or I might crunch on toast. He showed me his time machine. He was very proud of it. It was a large cardboard box with several pebbles on it, and stones stuck to the side. There was also a large red button. "Hang on," I said. "Those are diamonds, and sapphires and rubies." "Actually," he said, "I call them special shiny clear stones, special shiny bluey stones, and, special shiny red stones," I suggested. "Indeed," he said. "I call them that when I was inventing my really good moves-arounding time machine 150 million years ago." "Well," I told him, "it was very lucky for me that you turned up when you did and rescued me. I'm slightly lost in time and space right now, and I need to get home in order to make sure my children have their milk for their breakfast." I showed it to him. "This is the milk. Although I expect that 150 million years ago you called it wet, white, drinky stuff." "Dinosaurs are reptiles, sir," said Professor Steg. "We do not go in for milk." "Do you go in for breakfast cereal?" I suggested. "Of course! Dinosaurs love breakfast cereal, especially the kind with nuts in it." "Well, what do you put on your cereal?" I asked. "Orange juice mostly, or we just eat it dry. But I shall put this all in my book. In the distant future, small mammals put milk on their breakfast cereal. I shall write a wonderful book when I return to the present." "Actually," I said, "I think this is definitely the past. It has pirates in it." "It's the future," he said. "All the dinosaurs have gone off into their stars, leaving the world to mammals." "I wondered where you all went," I said. "The stars," he told me. "That's where we have all gone." "So," I said, "can you take me home?" Well, yes and no. Well, what does that mean? Yes, I would love to take you home. Nothing would make me happier. No, I cannot take you home. In all honesty, I don't believe that I can take me home. My time machine is being temperamental. I need a special shiny greeny stone. I have pressed that button many times, but nothing's happening. Button? Don't you mean big red pressy thingy? I asked. I most certainly do not. It is a button. I named it after my Auntie Button. Can I press it? You wish. I pressed the button. The sun shot through the sky. The stars started to flicker in nights and in days. And the balloon began to rock and lurch and zoom around like an angry fly. I held on to the ropes as hard as I could. Fortunately, I was still keeping a tight hold of my milk in my right hand. When we stopped being blown all across the sky, it was night, and according to Professor Stegg, we had only gone back about 1,000 years. The moon was nearly full. I'm even further from my children and our breakfast, I said. Do you have your milk? He said. Where there is milk, there is hope. Ah, over there, that looks like a perfect landing platform for my time-travelling scientists in a floaty ball balloon person carrier thing. We landed on the platform and got out. The platform stuck up out of the jungle and had flaming torches on each side. There were people standing on it, with very black hair and sharp stone knives. And there they are, the people. Move my hand a little bit. I don't think they're going to be too friendly. Is this a balloon landing platform? I asked the people. It is not, said a fat man. It is our temple. We have had a very bad harvest last year. We just asked the gods to make us a sacrifice to make sure that this year's harvest is better. When you floated down on that thing with your monster. Thank you, by the way, said a little thin man. I was going to be the sacrifice if no one else turned up. Much obliged. So now we will sacrifice you and your monster. But my children, they're waiting for their breakfast, I said. Look, I said, holding up the milk. Why did they just all fall to their knees? Asked Professor Stegg. Is it usual hairless mammal behaviour? Perhaps I should hold up some hard hairy white crunchers. See what happens. Coconuts, I told him. They're called coconuts. What is that you're holding? The fat man asked. Milk? I said. Milk? They exclaimed, and they prostrated themselves on the ground. We have a prophecy, said the man, that when a man and a shiny-backed monster descend from the skies on a round floaty thing. Floaty ball person carrier, said the thin little man. Yeah, one of those. We were told that when that happened, if the man held up milk, then we were not to sacrifice them, but to give them, meant to take them to the volcano. And give them, as a present, the green jewel that is the Eye of Splod. Splod? He's the god of people with short, funny names. It is, I said, a remarkably specific sort of prophecy. When did you receive it? Last Wednesday, said the fat man proudly. The priest of Splod has woken in the middle of the night by a voice whispering from the heavens. And when we went to look to see who was there was nobody there. Also, he was sleeping on top of the temple and no one else could have been up here with him, so it must have been either Splod himself talking or one of his angelic messengers. We walked together down a jungle path. Professor Steg held the rope in his mouth that led up to the balloon, and he dragged the balloon along. There they are, walking along, dragging the balloon, using his mouth. After half an hour, we reached the volcano. It was not a very big volcano. There were wisps of smoke coming out the top of it. On the side of the volcano, there was a big, scary face carved into it, with one eye in the middle of its forehead. And in the eye was the biggest emerald I had ever seen. "A special shiny greeny stone," said Professor Steg with his mouth full of rope. The fat man clambered up the side of the volcano. "It's a good thing that Splod himself told us to give you the Eye of Splod," said the little thin man. Oh, I've done the wrong voice. I'll do that bit again. "It's a good thing that Splod himself told us to give you the Eye of Splod," said the little thin man who had narrowly avoided being sacrificed, "because there is another prophecy that says if the Eye of Splod is ever removed, great Splod will awaken and spread burning destruction across the land." "There you go," said the fat man, and he handed us the emerald. Professor Steg nipped up the rope ladder to the balloon's basket and began to install the emerald into the time machine. Hang on. He was a stegosaurus. Yeah. Then how can he just nip up a rope ladder? He was, said my father, a large stegosaurus, but very light on his feet. There are fat people who are excellent dancers. "Are there any ponies in this?" asked my little sister. "I thought there should be some ponies by now." I was standing on the ground, holding on to the rope ladder, when the ground shook, and the very small volcano began to belch smoke and lava. "Splod is angry," said the little man. "He wants his eye back." And there's angry Splod, spitting his lava and ash. There was a rushing wind, and the balloon jerked me up in the air, high above the spurting lava. Unfortunately, I dropped the milk. I wasn't holding on to it tight enough. It landed right on top of Splod's head. Professor Steg hauled the rope ladder up with his tail. "I've lost the milk," I told him. "That's not good," he admitted. "But I know where it is. It's on top of Splod's head on the side of the volcano." Professor Steg said, "Good Splod! What on earth is that?" And before our eyes, another balloon, just like ours, appeared over the volcano. A man hurried down the rope ladder and placed a large emerald eye back into Splod, picked up the milk from Splod's head and ran up the ladder, and the balloon vanished. There's another rope ladder and someone nicking the milk, sticking the jewel back and zipping up the rope ladder. And look, there's our hero, here, watching the whole thing happen. The very small volcano stopped erupting immediately, as if it had suddenly been switched off. "That was a bit peculiar, wasn't it?" said the professor. "It was," I agreed, in gloom and despair and despondency overcoming me. That man in the balloon stole my milk. We are lost in the past, with jungles and pirates and volcanoes, and now I will never get home. My children will never have breakfast. We are doomed to float forever through the dusty air of the past in its hot air balloon. "It's not a balloon," said Professor Steg. "It's a floaty ball person carrier. What nonsense you talk. Now, I think that will do the trick." He finished attaching the emerald to the box using string and mostly using string mostly and also sticky tape. And he pushed the big red button. "Where are we going?" I asked. It seemed like the sun was zooming across the sky again, as if night were following day in a flickering strobe. There they are, night and day. "The far, far future," said Professor Stegg, and the machine stopped.